The Lost Cryptids Conservatory, where we will shatter your reality to bring you closer to the truth.
La última bateria com queda. Hòstia, tio, és que vas flipar, eh?
Mira, fota-li un zoom amb la càmera, tio, que des d'aquí no veig res.
Mira.
Me cago en Déu.
És que, tio, jo què sé, tio, semblen plumes, tio. Veus o no?
Segur que sentit soroll.
Home, tio, ja veus si he sentit soroll. Des de fa rato que he sentit soroll. Que sí, collons, que sí. Hòstia. Escolta. Ho sents o no? Puta, tio. Ei, va, corre, hòstia, va!
Really fun conversation. Wish we could have had a little more time on that. I think we got immersed in your stickman story was the thing that
yeah, it usually happens.
The conversation, but it's an interesting story. Has anything developed with that? Sorry to derail the conversation. It just popped in my head.
No, just another mystery out there. You know, this was before the Rake creepypasta was made. This was before people started talking about sightings or all these YouTube videos and stuff. There was only 2 YouTube videos that came out. There was the Fallen Angel of Spain, which is a creepy video of these Spanish guys in the woods, and they come across this ball. Yeah, that's what that
eyes glow and stuff. Yeah.
So my encounter was before that. That came out very shortly after. It seemed like that to me was about the same kind of creature. Then there was another video of the same kind of creature walking behind these kids at this campfire. They don't notice it, and it makes this weird noise.
I've seen that one too. It's like crawling around in the background, and its eyes glow as well, right?
It's like Gollum, you know, trying to get the ring. It's that creepy, half-naked humanoid. And if you watch Gollum and stuff, how he moves and stuff, that's how that creature moves in that one video.
There's a few videos.
Creepy.
There's almost a genre.
Yeah, it's creepy.
In the early days
now
of
there
the
is.
internet. Yeah, there was of like captured footage of something like that, you know, like you said, the one with the angel. There was one that I had seen very similar to that had someone sitting. What was it? There was somebody sitting at their desk working on their computer or whatever, and there was windows behind them, and something like popped up and looked and had their glowing eyes like that, and then just popped down and disappeared. And they were just sitting there working and didn't even notice it. I guess they would have went back and watched it at some other point, was the claim, but I don't know if it was CGI put in afterwards or whatever, or maybe it was authentic. Who knows? That's a lot of the skinwalker reports and stuff are kind of like that, you know, with some creepy figure peeking in the window like that. So maybe it was something like that.
Yeah, I mean, me and my girlfriend seen it was a wolf that crossed the road. It stood up and ran in the field on 2 legs like a person. I mean, it didn't look like a werewolf all muscle bound. It looked like a natural wolf. It just stood up and it ran. Now, is that a skinwalker? Is it this or that? I have no freaking idea, man. But I'm telling you, that's what happened. And it's like,
well, they do.
I don't know, man.
I don't doubt that there's like a cultural thing with certain Native American tribes. It's taboo for them to talk about it at all to us as Westerners. But they all have sort of this notion of these dark witches that kind of went off on their own after like the Trail of Tears, like kind of formed their little coalition and left behind the rest of their tribes to live like that, to live as wild people, to live as skinwalkers and practice dark magic, and that even anybody can go and join that tradition if they want to, and that apparently they used to be allies or whatever with the people, but when the schism happened where we basically came in and wiped all their, well, not all of them, but like 80% of their population out and enslaved half of them, and then sent the rest of them to live on reservations. When we destroyed their culture, that is when they said, "Hey, we're stepping out." I don't blame them if they did.
There's each tribe and stuff had kind of different stuff going on, but yeah, there's legends of the dog soldiers that go into war fighting for the tribes, and I would say that those teachings and stuff can be bent to be bad, and there's some teachings and stuff that there's instead of evil witches and stuff, that these are more good aligned shaman and stuff that use their powers to protect and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely the Navajo legends of the Skinwalker that are very evil and stuff, and I mean they tell you how to join and stuff. It's very evil acts and stuff, and
the Yinal-Lushi, yes, where you
and
have to,
but then
you
kind
have
of
to
these
kill
tribes
somebody
around
you
here.
love is one of the criteria. That's rough.
It's kind of like the Illuminati.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's also how you get the soul stone.
Yeah, it's really gruesome stuff. You got to like wear their skin, and that's what gives you the magic to transform and all that.
So,
but there's some good sides and stuff where they use animal skins, and it's not. They don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always perversion. There's evil and there's good. I would have to say, and there's these cultures and stuff, and it just depends on what.
You notice that when you look into these ideas of skinwalkers or shapeshifters or wolves, and the traditions around them, there's always like this kind of salve or something that you rub all over your skin made of this special potion. A lot of times those contain like hallucinogenic elements that seem to trigger a specific biological response that that you're becoming an animal or becoming more Therian, so to speak.
Right, and there's stories of shamans undergoing years of being out in the woods, being in swamps, living with spiders and stuff to become one with nature and stuff, and being out there solo, trying to learn, and it would be very interesting if these traditions are actually still going on, performed by people. I mean, because if you see one of those out there, you might mistake it for a Sasquatch or some other kind of cryptid. And if they were, say, more nefarious and stuff, or thought they needed human ingredients, you might not get lucky out there and stuff too.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and these people, and it's just because those people might actually just try to believe in stuff, whether it's happening or not. They just something they might just try to believe and do.
The Yinal-Lushi were grave robbers too, so they were pretty ghoulish. They dug people up.
Right.
There's a lot of taboo wrapped up in their behaviors and practices. A lot of cultural taboo and just general human taboo.
There's not all the tribes are friendly and stuff. Some of them were pretty warlike and gruesome, and they all had their traditions and stuff. And sometimes, good or bad, but the lines are kind of blurred on some of the stuff compared to what we would do. But some of the more ghoulish stuff, and like with the Navajo witches and stuff, is a little bit more and above than the rest. Scalping and stuff. That's not the same standards as that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
for trophies and stuff like that, that's not witchcraft. That's not butchering and stuff. People for magic and stuff, like they would say, and
just like cultural relativism. There is, of course, the key ingredient that we're looking at. The the Yanalushi, the Navajo witches, their practice was supposed to have been descendant from the Anasazi, which were a real people that we don't know too much about. So that's always kind of interesting to look into. Anasazi in and of itself just means the like the ancient enemies in the language of the Navajo, because
Yeah, they didn't like each other. They're at war and stuff.
yeah.
It seemed like a lot of tribes didn't like them, and of course we have legends and stuff of supposedly they were they came out of the ground, the star people, stuff like that. They have their cliff top dwellings and stuff that no one knows why they built that. Or some people mixing the legends of giants and stuff with
Mhm.
the Anasazi were being attacked by giants, or they might have. Some people think they were giants and stuff, but if you look at the dwellings and stuff, those weren't giant dwellings at all. But
Right, the
there's a big
Anasazi one,
mystery and stuff.
I think they had there's legends about them engaging with giants. I don't know if
Right.
I wouldn't think they would be giants, because yeah, like you said, their cliffside dwellings are human sized. They're actually
Right.
pretty standards for Native American.
But like they had like magic or some sort of technologically advancement knowledge that other tribes didn't have. Why they had their cliff top dwellings and no other tribe in the area built stuff like that comparably.
And they are really cool. I'd love to go see them sometime. I'm quite glad you know
Oh, yeah.
about that stuff, because a lot of people don't dive into the Anasazi and the legends about that. I guess you start getting into Bigfoot and you get into giants, because that's
Yeah, Native Americans, I was always kind of a passion as a kid too, even more so than Bigfoot at times, I would say. But just history. I always love history. It's just histories, mysteries, lost treasures, civilizations. The fall of civilizations, the start, technology. Just because history is so old. It's like, when did the first people are like, no, the first wheel was invented. I was like, well, when did we start making clothing, and how did we start making belts and pants and tools, and start doing foundry work and working with metals and all sorts of
music.
things, navigating, and when do we actually learn those skills? They go so far back that we just don't even know.
I'd like to know when we first did music. That'd be something
Right.
to make. To figure
It's
out.
so old that it's in every culture that we can find. So it's like it's even older.
It predates our split from other people groups. We carry that with us in our cultural memories and in our societies, and the way that we interact with each other. All of those things that you just mentioned have their impact and have happened at different stages. But do we have a date? Do we have the first example of when someone carved the first wheel? Was it a stone? Was it a wood? We don't know.
Yeah, or the learning the skills of metal, and how to make a sword, and how to do this and do that, or to build a city. We could find cities and stuff, but it's like, where did we learn the knowledge to even start building all that? That's even farther back. That's so much is lost. It's amazing. So I've always been into that, and you get into the mysteries, and you get into like cryptids. And
So, do you know much about the like the Moundbuilders societies of the Midwest, Mississippi
a little
Valley?
bit, I would say
Yeah.
more like the Great Lakes region version of that culture.
I live a couple hours north of, maybe a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half north of Cahokia, which was like their central city. I think they had one in the Great Lakes region, south of Detroit, right?
They had a lot of different things here in the Great Lakes. Actually, they had stone gardens that were found in Detroit. There's stone gardens that were found in Kalamazoo. There's still one in Coldwater. There's many that were destroyed in Michigan, but they have a big mine in was it Copper Harbor. There's some other mines and stuff that they were ancient copper mines and stuff that were
Oh yeah, because
only found in Michigan and stuff.
The Great Lake
Right,
culture
right.
did copper smelting. They mostly used it for jewelry and stuff, but yeah, that's kind of cool that they were really.
Well, we found that the copper that they mined from Michigan is so pure. It's only found in that particular spot, and they found some Bronze Age weapons from Greece that is made from that copper. So that actually does prove that there's a lot bigger stuff going around than we think and we thought. So this whole idea of the new world is just BS. It's more like the old world, and a lot of these legends and myths could be happening in North America. If there's this giant trade system going on, there was stuff going on, cultures clashing. I mean, to have intercontinental trade and stuff, you have to have a lot of steps in place.
Especially for something like a commodity, like an ore, like a copper ore.
Yeah, heavy stuff and
something. I mean, obviously, they could form it into this, and then it gets transported to that, and I guess put into a different item, or smelted into a different item, like recycled. But yeah, copper's always been a commodity that is hard to track because it's so reusable and so recyclable that never sticks around in the record. So finding something old enough to trace it like that is amazing, especially to trace it around to the other side of the planet. That's fascinating. I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, you can look it up. It's just that particular copper and stuff there is just so pure, and it's just distinctly regionalized for there. So, and you can find that they did find copper made from that across the world and stuff, and it does prove there was a lot more going on here. And there's
contact stuff, sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. I mean, we know there's Chinese. They find Chinese jade artifacts here. They found all sorts of things here. Roman coins, I think it was a gladius in one of the rivers. They found some Viking stuff.
Yeah, I've looked into a lot of.
There's a church in Ireland or something like that has a stonework of corn, of maize and corn and stuff that was brought over, because corn is not indigenous to Europe, and they have it on there, and it's a couple hundred years before like Christopher Columbus and all that.
There was a legend in Ireland about a boat with some Native Americans pre-Columbian washing up on the I don't think it was on the mainland of Ireland. I think it was on one of the islands off the coast. But they washed up on the shore of this boat full of Native Americans, and they buried them there or whatever. And then the legend kind of grew about it, and then they found that there were actually these cultures that lived over on the other side of the planet.
Is that a cow? What is that? Oh, frick!